In the first part of this height and stagger video, I'm going to show how we can extract the OLE. We're going to assume that the track data has already been provided to us as part of the survey methodology, but for now I'm just going to concentrate on extracting the OLE. So to do that, I'm just going to quickly hide the track just by changing the size of the clipping box. So I'm going to do that quickly just so I can see them more and easily. And then I'm going to go to feature extract, cable extract. I'm using some presets that have already been defined. I've already done some videos on how the presets affect the data, so you can watch those if you want to know more about that. And I'm just going to hide some of the debug information that I don't need once it does its job. But fundamentally, you just add these seeds. So you're basically dropping down on top of the data. There we go, that's one. And add another. So we'll do all the contact wires first. And that one. If I need to, I can adjust them if I want to. So if I was to say rotate, I can quickly reassign it if I needed to. Right, so those all should be good now. I can code the data here as well, so that when it pulls it out, I don't have to recode it. So we'll say, right, that's a con for contact wire, con as well. Okay. And what I'm going to do next is click extract. Okay, so that data's not all been extracted for me. And all I need to do is hit commit. And if I now turn off the point cloud, there is the data. Okay, so extracting the OLE is fairly straightforward. And what I'll do now is I'll move on to how we process the height and stagger data and add the track data into this. So I'm now going to close the 3D view down, and in the 2D view I'm going to backcloth that with the data set that I need to extract the rails from. Okay, so I'm now going to use the copy command from the backcloth, and I'm going to bring that string through, and the other track as well. Okay, and then I can clear the backcloth. I now need to check that these strings are running in the direction of their chainage. So if I click on here, you can see that it's got an attribute 1601 and then 1601.35 and 3511 and so on and so on and so on. So the chainage is increasing up the screen. If I query the line, that's not at the first point down here, so I'm going to hit reverse. So now it is. That one as well. I don't necessarily have to do this. This is just to check all the strings are running in the right direction. So having done that, I can go back to the 3D view. And I will load the point cloud data. Now then. So I need to start by going to the new height and stagger command, which at the moment is on a special debugging menu, but will eventually be under feature extraction. So it starts by asking me for the chainage string. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say, this is my chainage string. Okay, so it instantly then knows to put a section on that string, and it's been sized accordingly up here. I've used this command a lot, so it's remembered those settings from before. I'm currently using a section which is 1/2 meter thick. I now need to nominate my track strings. So I'm going to say, click on left. So this is my track 1, and this is my track 2. Okay. Now you'll notice that it automatically picks up its best guess for the OLE strings above. Okay. If I need to change that, that's not a problem. So what I would do is, if I just go to sections and just turn off show path. Okay. What I need to do is just click on, so much moment I'm on track 1, and if I was to click on con for the contact wire, I can then nominate the contact string, and I can then nominate the catenary. Okay, and you see that's changed over there. So I've deliberately chosen a location where the contact and catenary are taking over, just to illustrate the fact that we can extract multiple strings and also switch over to the ones that we need. So I'll now just put it back to the way it was. Okay. So the preview down here is showing us the strings that we've already brought through from the mobile mapping survey. Okay. All right. And if we needed to, I could change it. So if I click on right, I could actually reposition it, and that will change where that goes. Obviously, I don't need to do that, so I'm not going to alter it. And the same goes with the strings. So if I zoom in, that's the place where the contact wire is currently being extracted from. But if you needed to, I could go and override it and drop it down a bit. Okay, so at the moment this is all being pulled out automatically from the strings that we have from the track and from the auto extracted OLE, but you have always got the ability to override. You'll notice that the chainage has already been filled in for us over here, because that was on the chainage string. That was part of that nomination process, so it knows where to get the chainage from. So what I'm going to do first of all is show the path, and I'm now going to move it on to the first location. So I can just drag like this, and there you go, we can see in here. And if I want to in here, I can right click and fine adjust. Okay, so I can just about make out the structures now in that position there. I can, if I want to, make the section thicker if I need to. So on the side now, track 1, I can minimize that. And I'm also just going to minimize the section details. Sorry, not the section details, the image properties, because in a minute when I commit this data, it's also going to take an image for me. So I'm going to set that to high and just close that. So I need to give it a name for this first location, so I'm just going to call this test 1 for want of a better name, and I'm going to set its type to cantilever. Having done that, I'm going to switch to track 2 and set, track 2, and again set its name as well. So I'll call that one test 1B for argument's sake, and we'll go cantilever on there. You'll notice that now I've set the type of structure, it automatically then detects the refos for us. So it'll only do that once I've told it what type of structure it is. Once I've told it what sort of structure it is, because obviously there's no need to do that if it's a midspan. And the way that works is it samples as it goes down and tries to extrapolate a best fit for the refos, so that even though it's hidden behind this vegetation, it's still in the right place. You can see there it's done it for me quite perfectly. So I'm on track 2 here. If I press tab, it'll cycle back. So I'm just pressing tab to cycle between my tracks. So on test 1, I've got the refo, so I just need to set the boom. So I'm just going to click on boom and set that, and then press tab and do the same for the second one. Okay, and then right click to cancel that. So for both, I've got the type of structure set, and I've got the name set. All this information is obviously being pulled out automatically. I'm going to tick this option here to say refos will be specified about the center line. And I'm going to set the location for my images. So click on that folder there. Okay, now then, so the whole point of this exercise is to automate as much of this process as possible, and no one really wants to type this data in. So what we've got to go with this add-in, what we've got to go with this tool for n4ce is an add-in for Excel. So if I click on Show UI, what we've got here is a pre-set up spreadsheet, and what you do is you identify in the add-in what columns the data needs to go in. Okay, and you see at the moment I'm extracting 2 simultaneously, so I'm going to say this first spreadsheet is for track 1, this one's for track 2. In the future we can actually probably do 3 or 4 tracks simultaneously. It's more of a UI thing than anything else. We're specifying the headers for the structure and the header for the midspan, the cell colors, what font heights to use and sizes, and so on and so forth. And then once all that's set up, you just hit listen for data. As long as that's in the starting place for the data, which it is, I can just press yes, and that will now sit there waiting for data. Back in n4ce, everything I think is fine, everything's got data, so I'm just going to hit copy values. The image is then taken, and if I now switch to Excel, you can see there's that first row of data. Okay, it's already been put in for me, all the values are filled in. Okay, and then back in n4ce, that image is done. Okay, so now the image is exported as well. I can just go and check on that. Okay, so all that information is there, and obviously it's kept for record, and if you want to, you could actually import this back into n4ce and do manual measurements of this image. That would be absolutely fine. It's all at the right size, but I don't need to do that. So all that I need to do now is then move to the midspan, so I can drag it along, or I can just press advance, because the advance distance has already been set to be approximately about right. So I'm just going to hit advance. It moves straight away to the midspan, or approximately where the midspan is. Obviously I can right click to fine adjust, and then just give it another name. So we'll call this one test 2. This is track 2, so I'll call this 2B. And there's no type with this one. And then track 1, test 2. Because obviously it's in the midspan, there's nothing else to do. I'm just going to press copy values. That's gone into the spreadsheet, as you can see there, for me automatically. Okay, and now I just move on to the next position. So the next position is here. So I'm going to hit that button there, snap to point, snap to the gantry. There we go. Okay, and then it's essentially repeat. Right click to just fine adjust my position. Now here, obviously the refocus points are a little bit beyond where they should be, but that's not really a problem because I can still override it and just manually pick them. Okay, so even though the refocus is nowhere near where it was last time, I can still override it and change it, and so on and so forth. And that's essentially the whole process. I can click the menu to make it easier for myself to, fine adjust and get myself into position. But all we're really doing is sliding the section along to the right place, setting the positions of the various data points, and pressing copy values. That then goes into the spreadsheet view automatically via the plugin, and you just move and click, move and click. There's still a few bits and bobs to sort out. We've got to sort out the miscellaneous measurements, so you can just do random measurements and they'll just go onto the clipboard, so you can paste them into Excel and wherever you need them to go. So fundamentally, hopefully this can deal with regular data, and also where you need to go off piece and measure some different values that aren't necessarily regular for every data point, but we can hopefully cover all those situations, no matter what the scan data might be. That concludes this video.